A warm welcome to all of you. So, friends, myself, Dr. Suresh Guramkunda, and I'm the faculty of Anthropology at SRIRAM IAS. So, friends, I welcome you all to this Anthropology PYQ series session. So, where our basic aim of this particular series is to solve one PYQ one day and learn one PYQ one day. So, this was our aim. And we have already understood the basic objective of the series also, that let us try to decode each question and let's try to master every concept. So that's the basic motto and objective of this particular program. So friends, let us start and let us begin the particular today's discussion. So what about today's question? The question of the day for the day is, write notes on the following in about 150 words. Smell as a signal among non-human primates. So this question has been asked in UPSC Civil Services Examination 2025. So it was a PYQ from 2025. So now let us try to understand this particular question in a systematic fashion. So friends, if we talk from the perspective of the communication, so communication plays very vital role among the animals. So animals are basically social in nature. So communication plays very vital role. So there are different types of communications. So where we can have vocal communication, we have olfactory communication, like that. So now the question is with respect to the significance of that particular communication. Now, let us discuss more about this particular concept. So, the question actually has been picked from the primatology section. So, where we have characteristics of the primates. So, from that area, the question has been picked. So, let us try to discuss about the basic approach, how we can proceed with this particular question. So, try to just stay with me for the next 20-25 minutes so that you can understand this question and this concept in detail and in depth with a lot of examples. Right, friends? So first, how we can approach this particular question? The question is, to just highlight again, so smell as a signal among non-human primates. So how smell acts as a signal? How smell acts as a communication modality among non-human primates? So here you have to first understand what about the non-primates. So who are non-primate humans? So that's one thing you have to remember. So first, in the introduction, what you can do, so you can mention basically, you can define what olfactory communication is or what olfactory signaling is, and then you can highlight why is it important in the primates, particularly non-human primates. So this is how you can basically introduce. Right? Then, in the body portion of the answer, what you can do, you can explain the mechanism of the olfactory signaling. What do you mean by the mechanism of olfactory signaling? So that means how smell works as a signal among primates. So this aspect you can discuss in the first half of the body portion. Then, in the next portion of the body, you can highlight the functional role of smell as a signal among non-human primates. So this is another important aspect that you have to do. So in the body you can just mention. So here you have to quote examples also. So which non-primate humans will use this particular modality. So that's one thing you have to do. Then conclusion, what you can just include. So you can highlight the contemporary relevance of this particular type of signaling, and you can also mention the evolutionary significance of olfactory signaling among non-human primates. So this is what you can deal and you can do in the answer. So this is the basic outline of the answer. So we have to be good at the approaches. If our approach is good, so that itself gives a kind of good impression for the examiner. So we have to master how to make good approaches. That's one thing. I hope it is clear to you. Now, so let us proceed further and let us discuss more about the concept, right? So now, if you see from the perspective of the introduction, so what we can write. So, in the very introduction, as I have told you, we can talk about the olfactory communication or olfactory signaling. So, look at this. The sense of smell, that is olfaction. So the sense of smell is one of the earliest and most fundamental modes of communication among the animals. So you can start like that. So if you see in animals, olfaction or the sense of smell is one of the oldest and one of the basic modes of communication. That's the first point that you can pick. And then you can say that though the visual and vocal signals dominate in higher primates, smell continues to play a key role in regulating social, mating behavior and territorial marking, particularly in nocturnal or forest dwelling species. So this is how you can just simply explain the basic significance or basic importance of the sense of smell or the olfactory signaling among the non-human primates. So we are just slowly entering into the main portion of the answer. So that's all. So you can see in the picture also. So monkey is also a kind of primate, so non-human primate. So you can you see monkey is communicating through the smell and all those things. So this is one thing. So olfactory signaling. So we are going to discuss about that. So in this picture also you can see various things like gorilla. You can see bonobo here. You can see orangutan here. You can see the gibbons here. So they're all basically nothing but non-human primates. So primates are nothing but a group of animals who belongs to the mammalian category. So you have to remember that thing. Is that clear? So gibbons, orangutans, bonobos or gorillas, they're all non-human primates. So to show you some examples I've mentioned represented here so that you will be clear with that. Right? Now, let us know who are primates with some examples. So first, let us try to have a look into the family tree of the primates. So if you happen to see the primates family tree, you can see the primates family tree can be like this. So we have prosimians and we have new old world monkeys and new world monkeys. So rhesus macaco is a old world monkey. So marmots is the new world monkey. Then can you see gibbon? Can you see orangutan, great ape? Can you see like gorilla? So can you see the chimpanzees? So they are all nothing but the non-human primates and the rest is humans. So that is one thing you have to remember, right? So this is how we have the family tree of the primates. So the question is pertaining to all these species, excluding humans, so non-human primates. So further, you can also see the examples of the non-human primates. So in the image, it shows a lot of non-human primates. So the question is pertaining to this particular aspects. Is that clear for you? So because we need basic clarity regarding whom we are discussing. So that's it. So now let us proceed further and let's try to understand the basic mechanism of olfactory signaling. So what is the basic mechanism of olfactory signaling? That means how smell works as a signal among primates. So this thing we have to understand. So how it works, how the smell would be generated means, first thing what you have to understand is that, look here, among non-human primates, pheromones form a vital part of olfactory signaling. So here you have to understand and remember pheromones. So pheromones form a vital part of the olfactory signaling. So what are pheromones? Pheromones are nothing but the chemical substances that have been secreted externally by the animals. And what do? So they evoke specific behavioral and physiological responses in the members of same species. So that's what needs nothing but the basic mechanism. So the basic olfactory signaling or olfactory communication among the primates will happen by the release of some chemicals known as pheromones. So try to understand this. Right? So what are these pheromones? Pheromones are the chemical substances. So that's one another thing. So simply think from the perspective of human beings. So we have our sweat glands. From the sweat glands, our body will secrete sweat. Do you remember that? That's a kind of smell that emerge from our body. So in the similar fashion, in the non-human primates also, pheromones would be secreted. So they will help in the communication. That's one thing. So what are the basic things that would be included in the pheromones? So let's try to say. So pheromones include fatty acids, steroids, aldehydes, or sequelin, which are secreted via scent glands or urine. And these pheromones would be detected by the vomeronasal organ. So vomeronasal organ means the organ which is responsible for the detection of the smell. So for us, for human beings, we'll have Jacobson organ. So that's the organ that is responsible for detecting the smell, right? So in the same fashion, in the non-human primates, we will have vomeronasal organ. So this will detect the pheromones, smell. So that's the basic thing. So these pheromones will be secreted via scent glands or urine. So this is another important aspect that you have to remember. Is that clear? Now, if you further see basic understanding of what are pheromones, what are the types of pheromones, and what functions they do. So this is another thing that you can just explore. So there would be different types of pheromones, like one would be releaser pheromone, primer pheromone, territorial pheromone, alarm pheromones, sex pheromones. So like that, different types of pheromones will be there. So what does this releaser pheromones will do? They cause immediate behavioral response, where, for example, a female lemur releases pheromones that attract the males. So it's a releaser pheromone. So then, primer pheromones. So the primer pheromones produce long-term hormonal or physiological effects. Long-term effects. So let's see, for example, in marmosets, what happens? Pheromones from the dominant females suppresses the ovulation in the subordinate females. So it's a kind of long-term hormonal effect. So that is also another thing. Then you can see territorial pheromones. That means those pheromones which mark the area of ownership or dominance of a particular member. So here, for example, among ring-tailed lemurs, the ring-tailed lemurs, they secrete sequelin and fatty acids so that they can mark their territory and they can define that this is our area. And alarm pheromone. So it's one thing to just go for the protection, and other thing is for the case of defense mechanism. So some monkeys release scent when they are threatened. So that is another important aspect. Then sex pheromones also would be there. So the sex pheromones, like you can see in chimpanzee females, they emit fatty acid based pheromones. So this is one thing. So they're all nothing but different pheromones. So pheromones are basically responsible for the olfactory signaling among the non-human primates. So you don't need to just mention all those things. For just idea, you can learn it. So that's one thing. So this is basically about pheromones, right? Now let's proceed further and let's understand the further aspects. Now look here. Next important aspect that you have to highlight in the answer is, you have to talk about the functional role of the smell as a signal. So what is the role played by the smell in communication? So that's very important aspect. So first, what you have to mention. So the olfactory signaling, or the sense of smell, that helps in social communication among the non-human primates. So that's the first aspect that you can speak. So what do they do? Actually, the pheromones, which are responsible for social communication, they enable individual recognition and kin recognition, and it helps in maintaining group cohesion. So a particular animal will release a particular kind of pheromones, so through which they will recognize that this particular animal is my kin, like that. So that's one thing. So it helps in social communication in that fashion. Then example, if you look at the example, so macacos, usually the old monkeys, identify the group members through scent cues. And other thing, the mothers will recognize the infants by the odor. So that's a beautiful aspect. So you can see here the macaco. So macaco's social behavior or social communication would be basically would be done from the smell. So now, usually a mother will recognize the children, or mother will recognize the child infants by the odor itself. So that's one important aspect. So through this way, it helps in social communication. Then the olfactory signaling also helps in reproductive and mating behavior. It also defines the reproductive behavior and mating behavior. So let's say pheromones, what they do? Pheromones indicate sexual receptivity, sexual fertility, and estrus in females. So if or when during the times when they wanted to just communicate sexually, so you can see here a female lemur is attracting a male lemur, and it's attracting a mate by secreting pheromones. So that's one thing you can see here. So female lemurs and marmosets, they emit pheromones to attract the mates and synchronize reproductive cycles. So this is one thing that you have to remember. So example also you can see these are nothing but lemurs. So slender lemurs. So that's, so then you can see for territorial and dominance signals. So that for there also the olfactory signaling will help. So what do they do? So scent marking asserts ownership, resource defense, and hierarchy establishment. So certain the smell that has been originated from the body of that particular animal, it determines that particular area as the territory of a particular animal. So other animals will not enter into that particular area. And it also shows that like this would be the hierarchically arranged area. So one at the top of the that particular branch will not allow other animals to enter into that. So you can see an example also. Among ring-tailed lemurs, they engage in stink fights. So while lorises mark the territories using glandular secretions. So among lorises and ring-tailed lemurs, we can see this kind of relevance. So can you see here? So it is, they are nothing but the ring-tailed lemurs. So ring-tailed lemurs, what they do? So they will have scent glands. So with the help of the scent glands, they will mark their territory. Even they engage in stink fights by waving their scented tails at rivals. So they will engage in stink fight. So stink, smell. So that's one thing. So that is another thing. Then it also helps for ecological adaptation. So where, let's say for example, in low visibility environments, so where we don't have much of light, so olfactory signals aid in survival and coordination. So we can see this in some nocturnal Galapagos. So nocturnal Galapagos, what they do? They navigate and communicate through scent trails. So you can see here. So it's a nocturnal Galapagos. So it will navigate and communicate through the scent trails. So that is another important aspect, right? Now, how you can conclude the answer? So you can conclude the answer by showing the contemporary relevance, and you can conclude the answer by explaining the current signal, or say evolutionary significance of it. So you can see here, despite the evolutionary advancement towards the vision-based communication, olfactory signaling through pheromones remains a primitive yet adaptive mechanism. So this is how you can conclude the answer. So where you can also further explain that, you can say that, however, it is strongly developed among prosimians and gradually reduced in the anthropoids. So reflecting an evolutionary shift from chemical to visual and auditory dominance. So this sequence, it's nothing but it's a wonderful testament to their deep evolutionary heritage. So this was one thing that you have to mention. So where we are systematically highlighting the evolutionary significance of the olfactory signaling. So amongst the prosimians, this would be very highly developed. So you can see in prosimians, so these are all the prosimians. So among prosimians, olfactory signaling will be very prominent, whereas in anthropoids, olfactory signaling will be slightly less. So that's one thing. So you can just simply remember or recollect. Dogs will have good sense of smell. Do you remember that? Compared to human beings. So that's one thing. Among human beings also, so females will have good sense of smell than the males. So that's another important fact that you can remember here. So this is how you can conclude the answer. So friends, this is one important question that has been picked from the primatology section. So we have to tackle this particular question in this way. So if you want to download answer for this particular question, so you can just join the Telegram channel. So simply what you have to do, so simply type Anthropology Guide in the Telegram channel. There you can find the group and the channel with the logo like this. So where you can also join through this particular link and from this QR code. So you can get more such kind of information there, right? And for more updates with respect to this, so you can further also join the SRIRAM's IAS YouTube channel, where I'd be regularly making some informative videos on anthropology. So let me show you the, the model answer for the question. So how you can mention, how you can represent. So this is how you can represent the model answer. So you can represent the answer. So a small introduction, right? Then in the first half of the answer, you should talk about the mechanism of olfactory signalings. That means how smell works as signal among primates. So that's one thing. So you have to mention this clearly. And then next thing is that you have to highlight functional role of smell as a signal among non-human primates. So this is the second aspect that you have to mention. So you can do it in a systematic fashion in the point format with examples. So that's very, very important thing. Then you can conclude the answer with a conclusion. So this is how you can have it. So you can have this model answer and you can download this model answer from the group. So that's what I was explaining you. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. So do you have any doubts for today? Those who have joined through online, is there any doubts for you? You can just ask me now. So I hope things are clear for today. So let's move ahead. So let's wind off the discussion for today. So friends, let's meet tomorrow exactly at 11:30 a.m. and let's discuss another important question that has been asked in 2025. So till then, take care, revise all the concepts and revise all the questions and revise all the aspects that we have done till now. So that's all from today, from my side. So thank you all for joining this session. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you all.